Hello there and welcome to the Sleepy Universe story. Perhaps you've had a long day, or maybe you're just a curious soul who likes learning while drifting off to sleep. Either way, tonight's journey is for you. We'll be exploring a vast blue world and slowly sinking deeper into the hidden places where sunlight cannot reach and where mysteries linger in the darkness. The ocean covers most of our planet, yet it remains one of the least explored realms we know. Entire mountain ranges lie hidden beneath the waves, deeper than the tallest peaks. On land, rivers and lakes flow at the ocean's floor, while creatures glow with mysterious light, thriving in places where no sunshine ever falls. If you enjoy these gentle journeys, you might consider liking and subscribing, or simply sharing a comment down below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, all you need to do is relax, allow our breath to slow, your mind to soften, and let curiosity gently guide you. Let's begin. The ocean covers more than 70% of Earth. When you look at Earth from space, it isn't green or brown, it's blue. Over 70% of our planet is covered by the ocean, stretching unbroken for thousands of miles in every direction. The Pacific alone is so large it could hold all the continents combined. This immense body of water shapes everything about life on Earth: the climate, the air we breathe, even the rhythm of our days and nights through the tides. It absorbs heat from the sun, moves it around the globe, and creates weather patterns that ripple across continents. And yet, when we stand on the shore, it feels like a horizon, a boundary, the edge of the world. But the truth is, as the ocean that defines our planet, Earth isn't just a rocky sphere in space, it's a water world. We have explored less than 5% of it. Despite all our satellites, submarines, and scientific advances, we've seen only a fraction of what lies beneath the surface. Less than 5% of the ocean has been explored, which means 95% of it is still a mystery. We know more about the surface of the Moon and Mars than we do about the deep sea. Vast mountain ranges, endless plains, and hidden trenches stretch for thousands of miles unseen. Entire species live and die in darkness, never yet glimpsed by human eyes. Each expedition reveals creatures so strange they seem like science fiction: transparent jellyfish, glowing predators, and fish with anatomy unlike anything on land. The ocean is not just unexplored, it's almost entirely unknown, and that means every dive is like stepping onto an undiscovered planet with secrets waiting in the dark. The deepest point is deeper than Mount Everest is tall. Deepest point we know of is the Mariana Trenches. Challenger deep. If you dropped Mount Everest into it, the summit would still lie more than a mile underwater. At nearly 7 miles deep, the pressure there is more than 1,000 times greater than at the surface. It is a place of crushing darkness beyond the reach of sunlight, where life persists against unimaginable odds. Few submersibles have ever made the descent, and each time they've returned with the images of a silent alien world. The creatures there are adapted in extraordinary ways. Bodies are soft and flexible to withstand pressure, bioluminescent to signal and lure in the dark. Standing on a mountain peak feels like touching the sky, but descending into Challenger Deep is like touching the unknown, the bottom of our world. Entire mountain ranges lie hidden beneath the waves. Beneath the ocean, the landscape is anything but flat. Entire mountain ranges rise and fall, stretching across the sea floor. The Mid-Atlantic ridge alone is longer than any chain on land. Over 40,000 meters of peaks and valleys. Most of it is hidden far below the waves, invisible to us except through sonar maps and occasional glimpses from submersibles. These mountains are alive in their own way, created by the Earth itself as tectonic plates shift and spread. New rock is born here every day, pushing the seafloor apart. In some places, these ridges break the surface, forming islands like Iceland, where fire and ice meet above the waves. To think that we walk across mountains on land while entire worlds of peaks, cliffs, and ridges remain concealed beneath the sea, is to realize how much more there is left to discover. The ocean holds 95% of Earth's water. Nearly all of Earth's water, about 95%, lies in the ocean. The lakes and rivers we know, the glaciers and ice sheets that glimmer white in the sun, make up only a small fraction of the total. If all the oceans were drained into a ray, it would form a ball of water more than 800 meters across, dwarfing everything on the surface. This enormous reservoir is not just a collection of waves. It is a system that cycles water endlessly in sea, sky, and land. It gives us rain, feeds rivers, and sustains every living thing. Without it, there would be no weather, no climate, no life as we know it. The ocean isn't part of Earth's water cycle. It is the heart of it, a vast engine keeping the entire planet alive. More people have walked on the moon than reached the deepest trench. Since 1969, 12 humans have set foot on the surface of the moon, a place nearly 250,000 miles away. But fewer than a handful have descended into Challenger Deep, the lowest known point on Earth. It's astonishing to think that space travel, something that seems so distant and impossible, has been achieved more often than a full descent into our own oceans. The reason is simple. The deep sea is even more than outer space. The pressure is so extreme that a human body would be crushed instantly without protection. Building vessels that can withstand it is a feat of engineering as great as a rocket launch. Yet, when explorers do reach those depths, they find life clinging to the rocks and drifting through the dark, proof that even in the harshest corners of Earth life, most of Earth's volcanic activity happens underwater. When we think of volcanoes, we imagine fiery mountains on land, molten lava spilling into the air. But most volcanic activity on Earth is hidden beneath the sea. In mid-ocean ridges, molten rock constantly seeps upward, forming a new crust. There are countless underwater eruptions happening at any given moment, reshaping the planet's surface far from human sight. Some of these eruptions are so massive they create new islands rising suddenly from the ocean. Others go unnoticed, their lava cooling instantly in the cold water, creating bizarre formations like pillow basalt, rounded stones that look like frozen bubbles. The ocean floor is a vast volcanic factory, recycling Earth's crust and fueling hydrothermal vents that sustain unique ecosystems. What we see on land is only a fraction of the Earth's fire. The real heart of its volcanic power lies hidden in the sea. The largest living structure on Earth is in the ocean, stretching more than 400 miles along the coast of Australia. The Great Barrier Reef is the largest living structure on the planet. It is so immense that it can be seen from space, a patchwork of coral, and sea glowing in shades of turquoise and green. But the reef is not a single organism. It is built from billions of tiny coral polyps, each no bigger than a grain of rice. Over time, their skeletons accumulate to form towering walls, islands, and lagoons, creating a habitat that supports an astonishing variety of life. A quarter of all marine species depend on coral reefs, even though the white cover less than 1% of the ocean floor. The Great Barrier Reef is not just beautiful, it is vital, a living city beneath the sea, buzzing with creatures of every imaginable shape and call. We still discover thousands of new marine species. Every year, scientists catalog thousands of new marine species, from microscopic plankton to deep-sea giants. Some discoveries happen in shallow water, and new species of fish, shrimp, or coral hiding in plain sight among reefs. Others emerge from the deep, carried up by research submersibles or fishing nets. Bizarre creatures with glowing oars, transparent bodies, or teeth like needles. And still, experts believe we've only identified a fraction of what's out there. By some estimates, As many as two-thirds of marine species remain unknown to science. It's as if every time we peek beneath the waves, the ocean reminds us that its secrets are endless. In a world where so much feels mapped and measured, the ocean remains a frontier, a reminder that discovery is not a thing of the past, but something happening every single day. Some creatures glow in the dark without any light. Bioluminescence is one of the ocean's most magical tricks. Countless creatures, from tiny plankton to large squid, can produce their own light. Some flash suddenly to startle predators. Others glow gently to attract mates or lure prey. A swarm of plankton stirred by waves can make the sea shimmer, as if filled with stars. Deep below, anglerfish dangle glowing lures, tricking victims into swimming close. The light is not reflected from the sun, but created through chemical reactions inside the animals themselves, tiny sparks of energy made visible in the blackness of the deep. These glows are signals, warnings, disguises, and traps. Entire ecosystems are lit not by the sun, but by the creatures themselves, turning the dark ocean into a shifting galaxy of living stars. It's a reminder that even in darkness, life finds a way to shine. The largest migration on Earth happens underwater every night, every evening, as the sun sinks and darkness spreads across the sea. Billions of tiny organisms rise from the depths toward the surface. This event, called the vertical migration, is the largest daily movement of life on the planet. Small plankton drift upward to feed on microscopic plants in the shallows. Behind them follow fish, squid, and predators that feed on the plankton. Then come even larger hunters drawn into the chain of life. At dawn, the entire mass retreats again into the dark, avoiding the gaze of predators from above. It happens everywhere, every night, yet almost no one ever sees it from the surface. The water may look calm and empty, but beneath a hidden tide of living things flows upward and downward, as steady as the rhythm of breathing. It's the heartbeat of the ocean, pulsing endlessly in time with the sun. There are lakes and rivers at the bottom of the sea. It sounds impossible, but beneath the ocean there are places where water gathers into pools and flows like rivers. These strange formations, known as brine pools, are created where super salty water seeps from the seafloor. Because the brine is so much denser than the surrounding seawater, it settles into depressions, forming shimmering lakes at the bottom of the ocean. Some even have shorelines, waves, and currents of their own. To visiting submarines, they look like ghostly ponds lying inside the sea, surreal and otherworldly. For the creatures that live nearby, these pools can be deadly. The salt levels are so extreme that most life cannot survive within them. Yet at the edges, strange communities flourish, adapted to thrive at the boundary of two very different worlds. In the deepest dark, the ocean hides landscapes that feel more like alien planets than Earth. The ocean floor is spreading apart beneath our feet. Far below the waves, the seafloor is slowly splitting open along mid-ocean ridges. Molten rock wells up from beneath the crust, creating new ocean floors and pushing the plates of Earth apart. This process, called seafloor spreading, is one of the fundamental engines of our planet. It is happening constantly, day and night, reshaping the globe at a pace too slow for us to feel. Over millions of years, it has opened entire oceans, shifted continents, and built towering underwater mountains. The mid-Atlantic ridge, where the seafloor is spreading, runs for tens of thousands of miles, longer than any mountain range on land. Each moment, a new Earth is born here, rock that will someday rise into continents, islands, or mountains. Though hidden under miles of water, the process beneath the sea is what gives shape to the world we know. Earthquakes and tsunamis begin in the ocean's depths. Many of the most powerful earthquakes don't begin on land, but deep beneath the ocean floor along shifting lines where tectonic plates grind against one another. When these plates suddenly slip, The energy released can ripple upward into the sea, displacing entire walls of water. This movement can create tsunamis, waves that travel across entire ocean basins at jet speeds, carrying unimaginable energy. At sea, a tsunami might pass almost unnoticed, a slight rise of the water, but as it approaches shore, it builds into towering walls that can reshape coastlines in moments. Scientists watch these fault zones carefully, using seismographs and ocean buoys to warn of impending danger. The power unleashed reminds us that the ocean is not just water, but a restless surface stretched across a living, shifting earth, always moving, always alive beneath our feet. Vast underwater canyons rival the Grand Canyon. Hidden beneath the waves are enormous canyons carved into the continental shelves. These submarine canyons can plunge thousands of feet deep, rivaling or even surpassing the scale of the Grand Canyon on land. Formed by ancient rivers, landslides, and currents, they channel sediments from the coast down into the abyssal plains of the ocean. Terry Canyon off the coast of California is more than twice as deep as the Grand Canyon. Descending straight into the sea, exploring them is like looking into enormous scars on the edge of the continent, places that hold clues to Earth's history and the movements of water through time. These canyons are also rich ecosystems, sheltering life in their sheltered walls, where nutrients gather and creatures thrive. Out of sight, these valleys reveal that Earth's greatest landscapes are not only on land, but also beneath the waves. The ocean produces more oxygen than the Amazon rainforest. When people think of the lungs of the planet, they often picture the Amazon rainforest. But in truth, most of the oxygen we breathe comes from the ocean. Tiny organisms called phytoplankton drift through the upper layers of the sea, earning sunlight into energy through photosynthesis. In the process, they release oxygen into the water and air. These microscopic plants are so numerous and their reach so vast that together they use more than half of Earth's breathable oxygen. Every breath we take carries the imprint of the sea. From space, vast blooms of plankton can be seen as green swirls spreading across the ocean surface, covering areas larger than countries. Though invisible to us most of the time, these tiny drifters quietly sustain life on Earth, proving that the greatest forests are not always made of trees. Tiny organisms in the sea influence Earth's climate. Microscopic life in the ocean doesn't just produce oxygen, it helps regulate the climate itself. Phytoplankton absorbs carbon dioxide from the atmosphere as they grow, pulling it down into the ocean. When these tiny organisms die, some of that carbon sinks with them into the deep sea, where it can remain locked away for thousands of years. This process, sometimes called the biological pump, is one of Earth's most powerful climate regulators. Without it, the atmosphere would hold far more carbon dioxide, and the planet would be much hotter. These organisms are so small that billions can fit in a teaspoon of water, yet together they shift the balance of the entire planet. It's a reminder that even the tiniest forms of life, invisible to the naked eye, can shape the destiny of a world. The ocean's currents act like planet-sized conveyor belts. Beneath the surface, the ocean is always moving. Great currents loop around entire basins, carrying warm water from the tropics toward the poles and returning cold water back again. This circulation, sometimes called the global conveyor belt, is essential to life on Earth, balances temperatures, moves nutrients, and even shapes the climate on continents far from the shore. The Gulf Stream, for example, carries warmth across the Atlantic, keeping Europe's sea climate far milder than it would otherwise be. These currents are driven by a delicate balance of heat, wind, and salinity, and they can take centuries to complete a single cycle. Each wave hat breaks on the beaches connected to these hidden rivers, linking every coast on Earth. The ocean's conveyor belt is not just a flow of water, but a flow of life, warmth, and balance across the entire boat. Some waves travel the entire width of an ocean basin. When wind blows across the sea for long enough, waves begin to build, most breakily on a nearby shore. But some, called swell waves, can travel for thousands of miles across entire ocean basins. A storm in the Southern Ocean can send waves rolling all the way to distant beaches in South America, Africa, or even the Pacific. These waves move with steady rhythm, carrying the memory of the storm that birthed them across half the world. Surfers sometimes ride swells that began as storms weeks earlier and oceans away. To stand on a shore and feel the pulse of these waves is to connect with distant places, knowing that the energy began far beyond the horizon. The sea itself becomes a messenger, sending whispers of far-off storms across the globe, one rolling crest at a time. The tallest waves ever recorded happened at sea. Most ocean waves rise just a few feet high, breaking gently on beaches. But at sea, under the right conditions, waves can grow to staggering heights. The tallest wave ever recorded by instruments was a monstrous wall more than 100 feet high, taller than a 10-story building. These giants formed during violent storms when powerful winds and currents align, stacking energy into a single quest. To sailors, such waves are awe-inspiring and terrifying, towering walls of water that seem capable of allowing ships whole. Yet, they are part of the ocean's natural rhythm, a reminder of its raw and untamed power. For every calm shoreline, there are wild places where the sea lifts itself into mountains, proving that water, in motion, can rival the greatest forces on land. Rogue waves can rise without warning. Out in the open sea, sailors sometimes speak of a wave that comes out of nowhere, a solitary wall of water, rising like a liquid cliff. These are called rogue waves, and for centuries they were thought to be sailors' tall tales, but modern instruments have confirmed their reality. Rogue waves can tower more than 100 feet high, twice as tall as nearby waves, forming suddenly from the merging of smaller swells. They can appear under clear skies or strike in the middle of a storm, then vanish just as quickly. Ships that encounter them often report being lifted like toys, their decks briefly facing walls of water higher than lighthouses. Though we now know they exist, their exact triggers remain mysterious, a reminder that the ocean can surprise us at any moment with a power that defies prediction. The ocean has waterfalls taller than anything on land. It seems impossible, but deep beneath the waves, water itself can fall like rain, tumble like rivers, and cascade like waterfalls. One of the largest is hidden beneath the Denmark Straits. It between Greenland and Iceland. Out there, cold, dense water from the Arctic sinks beneath warmer water from the Atlantic, creating a massive downward flow. This underwater waterfall plunges more than 2 meters, nearly 4 times taller than Angel Falls, the tallest waterfall on land. Yet, because it happens in the dark, deep sea, it's invisible to human eyes. These underwater cascades help circulate nutrients and regulate global currents, playing a quiet but essential role in Earth's climate. Imagine a waterfall so vast that it could swallow mountains, rushing downward unseen for centuries, shaping the hidden world beneath the waves. A secret cascade flowing endlessly in the dark. Some deep-sea creatures survive pressures that would crush submarines. At the bottom of the ocean, the pressure is beyond comprehension. For every 30 feet of depth, the pressure increases by the weight of Earth's atmosphere. By the time you reach the Challenger Deep, it's over 100 times what we feel at the surface. A steel submarine would crumple like a soda can. Yet life still flourishes there. Creatures in the Hattle Zone, the ocean's deepest realm, have adapted with flexible bodies, special proteins, and unique cellular structures that resist crushing. Some have no air pockets inside them at all, so there's nothing to collapse. Instead, they drift gracefully, luminous or ghost-like, as if the crushing weight of the world above means nothing. These beings remind us that life is astonishingly adaptable. able to survive conditions that seem utterly impossible. In the deepest dark, the ocean whispers, survival takes many shapes. Others can live without sunlight for their entire lives. On land, sunlight is everything. Plants need it, animals chase it, and our days are guided by it. But in the abyss of the ocean, light never arrives, and still life thrives. There are fish that never see the sun, crustaceans that navigate on, lie by touch, and entire colonies of bacteria that eat chemicals instead of light. In caves, trenches, and under layers of ice, these creatures carry on entire lifetimes in a world of endless night. They have no eyes or eyes so faint they are useless. Some have developed incredible senses to detect vibrations, heat, or faint chemical trails left by prey. To us, darkness can feel empty, but in the ocean's depths, it is filled with quiet activity. In these hidden places, life rewrites the rules, proving that survival is not limited to the world the sun can reach. Hydrothermal vents host ecosystems powered by chemistry, not sunlight. In the late 1970s, scientists exploring the deep sea discovered something astonishing: towering chimneys of rock spewing black boiling water into the abyss. These were hydrothermal vents, cracks in the seafloor where seawater seeps down, heats near molten rock, and bursts back out filled with minerals. Around them, life thrives, not by sunlight, but by chemistry. Bacteria feed on the minerals, converting them into energy through a process called chemosynthesis. Larger creatures like giant tubeworms, crabs, and shrimp rely on these bacteria for food. Entire ecosystems exist here, cut off from the sun yet pulsing with life. For the first time, scientists realized that sunlight wasn't the only way to power life, that heat and chemicals alone could sustain entire communities. It reshaped how we imagine life, not only on Earth, but on distant worlds hidden beneath ice and oceans far away. Tubeworms can grow taller than a human in complete darkness. In the black depths near hydrothermal vents, forests of white and red shapes rise from the seafloor. These are giant tubeworms, some of them taller than a person, and like moss. Animals, they have no mouth and no stomach. Instead, their bodies house special bacteria that feed them by turning the hot mineral-rich vent water into food. The worms live in protective white bees with bright crimson plumes at their tips that wave gently in the current. To us, they seem impossibly alien creatures that thrive without sunlight, rooted in boiling toxic water. And yet, they flourish, growing more than 6 feet long. The existence of these worms stunned scientists when they were first discovered because it proved that life could thrive in places once thought uninhabitable. In the silence of the deep, they stand like gardens of firelit flowers, nourished by the earth itself. Some creatures thrive in temperatures hot enough to melt lead. Near the vents of the deep ocean, water can reach temperatures of more than 700 F, hotter than molten lead would be on the surface. You might think nothing could live in such extremes, but life has a way of surprising us. Certain bacteria known as extremophiles thrive in this holding water, using chemical reactions to survive where everything else would burn away. Some even form the base of entire food webs in larger creatures that cluster around the vents. These organisms challenge our very definition of what life can endure. If life can exist in boiling pressurized darkness on Earth, then perhaps it could also exist in the hidden oceans beneath the icy crusts of moons like Europa or Enceladus. The deep sea doesn't just teach us about our own planet, it expands our imagination. For life everywhere, others live in water cold enough to freeze skin instantly. At the other extreme, some ocean creatures live in water so cold it hovers just above freezing. In the deep Antarctic seas, fish swim through icy darkness where the temperature never rises above the freezing point of fresh water. To survive, many produce natural antifreeze proteins in their blood, preventing ice crystals from forming inside their bodies. These adaptations allow them to live in conditions that would kill most other animals in moments. The water is so cold it could freeze human skin on contact, yet life continues in delicate, beautiful forms: pale fish with transparent bodies, slow-moving starfish, and even entire communities beneath the frozen surface. The deep ocean reminds us that what feels impossible to us is ordinary to other creatures. To them, this frigid darkness is not a prison but home, a place where life has carved out its own quiet niche. There are fish, but you can walk on land. It sounds like something out of a dream, a fish climbing out of the water and walking across the land. Yet in parts of the world, this is reality. Mud skippers are small fish that can use their fins almost like legs, hauling themselves up onto mud flats when the tide recedes. They can breathe air through their skin and even through the lining of their mouths and throats, allowing them to spend hours outside the water. On land they hop, climb, and even fight for territory, their eyes blinking above the mud like tiny periscopes. Watching them scurry across the ground is like catching a glimpse of evolution in progress, a reminder of the time when the very first creatures made the daring leap from sea to land. In every movement, mud skippers carry with them a whisper of Earth's ancient story of transformation. Some squid can fly through the air above the waves. The ocean is full of surprises, and one of the most delightful is the flying squid. These remarkable creatures can launch themselves from the sea, spreading their fins like wings and gliding through the air. By rapidly forcing water out of their bodies, they create a jet that propels them upward, sometimes soaring more than 100 feet above the waves. To an observer, it looks as though a school of fish has suddenly taken flight, their silvery bodies flashing in the sunlight before splashing back into the sea. Scientists believe they do this to escape predators or to travel quickly across the surface. Whatever the reason, the sight blurs the boundary between sea and sky. For a few moments, these squid live in two worlds at once, creatures of the deep who borrow the freedom of the air before returning to the water's embrace. The giant squid was once thought a myth. For centuries, sailors whispered about monstrous creatures lurking in the deep, tentacled beasts so large they could drag entire ships beneath the waves. Many dismissed these stories as superstition, the stuff of sea shanties and fear. But then in the modern era, evidence began to surface. Enormous suckers marked scars on whales, mysterious tentacles washing ashore, and finally photographs of the creature itself. The giant squid is real, a ghostly animal with eyes the size of basketballs and tentacles stretching as long as a bus. Rarely seen alive, it usually remains deep in the twilight ocean, far from human eyes. Its discovery transformed legend into reality, a reminder that myth often hides a kernel of truth. Even today, to glimpse a giant squid in its natural world is to witness the boundary between human imagination and Earth's hidden wonders dissolving. The colossal squid has eyes the size of dinner plates. If the giant squid seems extraordinary, its even larger cousin, the colossal squid, is almost beyond belief. This deep-sea giant has the largest eyes of any animal known, each one as big as a dinner plate, up to a foot across. In the blackness of the southern ocean, such enormous eyes are not a luxury but a necessity. They allow the squid to detect faint traces of light, whether from the glimmer of bioluminescent creatures or the faint glow of the moon. Filtered miles through the sea, these eyes help it detect predators like sperm whales and prey in the endless dark. The colossal squid itself may grow to lengths exceeding 40 feet with tentacles armed with rotating hooks, and yet, despite its size, it remains mysterious. Very few have ever been seen, reminding us that even the largest creatures can hide in the deep. The blue whale is larger than any dinosaur ever was. When people think of Earth's greatest giants, dinosaurs often come to mind, but the truth is, the largest creature to ever live on our planet is alive today. The blue whale, stretching up to 100 feet long and weighing as much as 200 tons. A single blue whale outweighs even the mightiest sauropod dinosaur. Its tongue alone can weigh as much as an elephant, and its mouth could hold an entire bus. Despite its size, the blue whale survives by eating some of the smallest creatures in the ocean, tiny shrimp-like krill, which it gulps by the ton. When a blue whale surfaces and exhales, its spout of mist can rise higher than a two-story house. To see one in the open ocean is to glimpse the scale of life itself, vast, majestic, weigh more than 400 pounds. With each slow, thunderous beat, it pumps gallons of blood through the whale's massive body. You could fit a small child inside the chambers of this heart. Yet, despite its size, the whale's pulse is surprisingly slow, sometimes as little as 2 beats per minute when it dives deep in search of food. Only when it surfaces for air does the pace quicken, racing to pump oxygen through its body. This mighty heart sustains the largest animal our world has ever known, powering journeys across oceans and that's thousands of feet below the waves. Listening to its rhythm would be like hearing the drum beat of the ocean itself. Whale songs can travel across entire ocean basins. Humpback whales are known for their haunting, beautiful songs. Long, complex sequences of sounds that can last for hours. These songs are not just noise, they are structured, repeating patterns almost like music. Then more extraordinary, their low, rumbling notes can travel astonishing distances underwater. In some cases, a whale's song can be heard thousands of miles away across entire ocean basins. Imagine a whale singing in the Pacific and another hearing its voice across the vast blue expanse. Scientists believe these songs may be a form of communication, a way of attracting mates, or even a cultural tradition passed from whale to whale. To hear one is to feel as though the ocean itself has found a voice, slow, deep, and resonant, carrying messages across the largest stage in the world. It is music written in water and time. Dolphins have names for each other. Among dolphins, communication is astonishingly complex. These intelligent ls whistle, click, and chirp in patterns that researchers have studied for decades. One of the most fascinating discoveries is that dolphins appear to give each other names. Each dolphin develops a unique signature whistle, a sound that identifies them individually, much like a name does for us. Other dolphins use these whistles to call them, sometimes even imitating the sound to get their attention. It's as though dolphins carry a spoken identity, a vocal label recognized across their social groups. This discovery challenges the way we think about language and self-awareness in animals. To know your own name and to respond when called suggests a sense of individuality we often reserve for humans. In the quiet underwater world, dolphins are not just whistling at random. They are calling each other by name. Some whales can hold their breath for over 2 hours. For humans, holding our breath for a minute or 2 feels like an achievement. But some whales can dive for more than 2 hours without coming up for air. The champion is the Cuvier's beaked whale, which has been recorded diving to depths of nearly 2 meters and staying submerged for over 120 minutes. To accomplish this, whales slow their heart rates dramatically, conserve oxygen in their muscles, and allow certain organs to temporarily shut down. They sink into the dark with calm precision, navigating by sound, chasing squid and fish in the deep. When they finally return to the surface, the rush of their exhaled breath explodes into the air like a release of heat and time. These dives remind us that the limits we feel in our bodies are not universal. Life finds ways to stretch endurance into the unimaginable. A sperm whale's clicks are louder than a jet engine. The sperm whale is famous for its immense size and deep dives, but it also holds another record, the loudest sound produced by any living creature. When a sperm whale clicks to communicate or hunt, the sounds and reach over 200 decibels. louder than a jet engine at takeoff. These clicks are used like sonar, bouncing off objects in the dark ocean depths and returning echoes that help the whale see with sound. They can also carry messages across miles of water, allowing whales to communicate even in the vast silence of the deep. For humans, being close to such a sound would be overwhelming, even dangerous. But for sponge whales, it is a natural language, woven into their lives. In the stillness of the ocean's depths, their voices echo like thunder, reminding us how alive the silent dark truly is. Jellyfish have drifted through Earth's oceans for over 500 million years, long before the first forests grew, before even the earliest dinosaurs walked the earth. Jellyfish were already drifting through the seas. Fossil evidence shows they have existed for more than 500 million years, making them some of the oldest creatures on Earth. They have no bones, no brains, and no blood, yet they each survived countless extinctions, adapting to every change our planet has faced. Their bodies are made mostly of water, delicate and translucent, yet their design has endured for 500 million years. In many ways, they are living fossils, windows into a time when Earth was young and the seas were the center of life. Watching a jellyfish drift, pulsing gently with light and motion, is like seeing the past itself alive in the present, a reminder of how ancient and resilient life in the ocean can be. Some jellyfish are effectively immortal. Among the many strange abilities of jellyfish, one species has earned the nickname the immortal jellyfish, known as Teratopsis donae. It has the extraordinary ability to reverse its own aging process. When stressed, injured, or near death, it can transform its adult body back into a younger polio stage, essentially starting its life cycle all over again. In theory, this means it could live forever, avoiding death by continually rejuvenating itself. In practice, most deer survive indefinitely as predators, and disease still claim them. But the very possibility of biological immortality is staggering. This small, bee-like creature drifting unnoticed through the oceans may hold secrets to life extension that humans have only begun to imagine. It is as though the ocean itself whispered a secret that time doesn't always have to flow in only one direction. The Portuguese man-of-war isn't a single creature. At first glance, the Portuguese manwar looks like a single jellyfish drifting with a delicate purple blue sail above the waves, but this is no lone organism. It's a colony. The man-of-war is made of many individual animals called zooids that live together as one, each who has a specific role. Some handle feeding, others reproduction, and others defense. None can survive alone, but together they form a floating organism that can stretch more than 100 feet with venom-filled tentacles. He man-of-war has no brain, no skeleton, and no heart, yet it hunts with deadly precision, paralyzing fish and sweeping them into its shared digestive system. It is a living lesson in cooperation, a reminder that sometimes survival depends not on individual strength, but on the ability to become part of something larger than yourself. Some fish can change gender during their lives. The ocean, even identity can be fluid. Many fish species are not locked into being male or female for life. They can change. Clownfish, for example, live in groups led by a dominant female. If she dies, the largest male changes sex and takes her place, becoming the new matriarch. Wrasses, another group of fish, often switch from female to male when it benefits the survival of the group. This ability ensures balance, allowing populations to adapt when circumstances shift. The process is not just behavioral but biological. Hormones trigger transformations that reshape organs and change the way the fish function. To us, the idea of such a transformation feels impossible. But in the sea, change is simply part of life. The ocean teaches us that identity can be more flexible than we imagine. A fluid dance like the tides themselves. The clownfish needs its anemone to survive, Clownfish are instantly recognizable with their bright orange bodies striped in white and black, but their most remarkable trait, however, is their partnership with sea anemones. These anemones are covered in stinging tentacles that can paralyze most fish on contact, yet clownfish swim freely among them, completely immune to their sting. In return, the clownfish cleans the anemone, driving away parasites and even luring prey into its deadly grasp. The anemone protects the clownfish from predators, while the clownfish ensures its partner stays healthy and well-fed. Neither could thrive as well without the other. This mutual bond is an elegant reminder that survival in the ocean is not always about competition. Sometimes it is about forming alliances. When we watch a clownfish darting safely among the waving arms of its host, we are seeing trust itself woven into the fabric of life beneath us. Sharks existed before trees did. Sharks are among the oldest survivors on Earth. They first appeared more than 400 million years ago, long before the first trees grew on land. While forests are relatively recent in Earth's history, sharks were already prowling the oceans when land was barren and lifeless. Over time, they have survived multiple mass extinctions, outliving the dinosaurs and adapting to new worlds as continents shifted and climates changed. Their bodies, honed by evolution, are so effective that they've remained relatively unchanged for hundreds of millions of years. When you see a shark gliding silently through the water today, you are watching a living relic, a design so perfect it has outlasted entire ages of Earth's history. They are reminders that some of the planet's greatest survivors are not on land at all, but in the endless depths of the sea. Some sharks can detect a single drop of blood in an Olympic pool. Sharks are legendary for their sense of smell, and the truth is even more extraordinary than the myth. Many shark species can detect a single drop of blood in a body of water as large as an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Their nostrils are lined with sensory cells so sensitive that they can pick up tiny chemical traces from miles away. This ability helps them track wounded prey through the vastness of the ocean, where visibility often poor. It also means they can detect the faintest signals of life in the water, guiding them through the dark. While the idea has fueled countless stories of terrifying predators, it's also a marvel of nature's design, a reminder of how finely tuned senses can become when survival depends on them. For sharks, smell is just a sense, it's a way of seeing the ocean. Others glow with bioluminescence. While many people picture jellyfish when they think of glowing sea life, sharks too can shine in the dark. Certain species, like the lantern shark, produce bioluminescent light along their bellies. These glowing patterns help them camouflage by blending into the faint light from above, making them invisible to predators below. Some species also use their glowing stripes to communicate with one another, perhaps signaling mates or warning rivals. What's remarkable is that these sharks live in the deep sea where sunlight never reaches. Their light is entirely their own, a living lantern that illuminates the dark. Scientists have only recently begun to understand the history behind this glow, and the mysteries still unfolding. Imagine a predator gliding silently through the abyss, its body outlined with a ghostly blue shimmer. The ocean never stops surprising us with its strange luminous wonders. The Greenland shark can live for more than 400 years. In the icy waters of the North Atlantic lives one of the most extraordinary creatures on Earth. The Greenland shark, slow-moving and almost prehistoric in appearance, these massive sharks can live for more than 4 centuries, making them the longest-lived vertebrates known. Some individuals alive today may have been swimming through the deep when Shakespeare was writing his plays, or even when Leonardo da Vinci was sketching his inventions. Their secret lies in their slow metabolism, result of the frigid waters they inhabit. Moving sluggishly through the darkness, they conserve energy and live at a pace so unhurried it stretches across centuries. They grow only a few cm each year eventually reaching lengths of over 20 ft. To imagine a creature that has lived for hundreds of years, quietly drifting beneath Arctic ice, is to glimpse time itself flowing slowly in T.He.C. Hammerhead sharks see the world in stereo vision. Few creatures are as instantly recognizable as the hammerhead shark. With wide hammer-shaped heads stretching like wings, they seem almost designed by an artist's imagination. But their unusual shape is not just for show. It gives them a kind of stereo vision. With eyes positioned far apart, a hammerhead can see more of the world around it, overlapping its fields of vision. To judge distances more accurately, this makes it an exceptional hunter, able to track the movements of prey with precision. The wide head also holds special sensory organs that detect faint electrical signals given off by other creatures, allowing the hammerhead to sense hidden fish buried in the sand in the open ocean. This combination of sight and sensing turns the hammerhead into one of nature's most extraordinary predators. Moving with both elegance and eerie awareness through the water, the megalodon once ruled the seas. Millions of years ago, the oceans were ruled by a predator so enormous it dwarfed even the great white shark. This was the megalodon, a shark that could grow more than 60 feet long with jaws powerful enough to crush the bones of whales. Its teeth, some as large as a human hand, are still found in sediments around the world, relics of a creature that once dominated the seas. For 20 million years, megalodons were the undisputed rulers of the ocean until changing climates and competition from other predators brought them to extinction about 3 million years ago. Even so, the thought of a shark the size of a bus patrolling the seas is enough to stir awe and fear. The megalodon may be gone, but its legend lives on in the fossilized teeth that wash up on beaches like ancient shores. Some modern fish still carry ancient features from those times. Though megalodons disappeared millions of years ago, traces of ancient seas still live on in modern fish. The coelacanth, for example, was thought to be extinct for over 65 million years until one was found alive off the coast of South Africa in 1938. This strange lobe-finned fish looks almost unchanged from fossils dating back hundreds of millions of years. Its fins resemble primitive limbs, hinting at the evolutionary steps that once carried fish onto land. Other species like sturgeon and hagfish retain ancient features that connect them to some of the earliest vertebrates. These living fossils are reminders that evolution doesn't move at the same pace everywhere. Some creatures adapt and change quickly, while others remain stable for years, surviving just as they are. The ocean is a time capsule holding echoes of life's earliest experiments. Still swimming today, the ocean holds vast reservoirs of frozen methane. Far beneath the seafloor, locked within icy crystals, lies an enormous storehouse of energy, methane hydrates. These are strange structures where methane gas is trapped inside cages of frozen water, forming a substance that looks like ice, but burns if touched by flame. Scientists estimate there may be more carbon stored in these hydrates than in all known fossil fuels on land. If released suddenly, they could warm the planet dramatically. But they also represent a potential energy source, a frozen fuel waiting in the dark. The hydrates are found in deep sediments and along continental slopes where pressure and cold keep them stable. They are fragile, though, and a change in temperature could set them free. It is humbling, and to think that beneath the calm ocean floor lies a hidden reservoir that could change the course of Earth's climate and energy future. Underwater landslides can trigger massive tsunamis. We often think of tsunamis as being caused by earthquakes, but the ocean has another way of creating these enormous waves. Underwater landslides along the steep slopes of submarine canyons. Vast amounts of sediment can suddenly give way, tumbling downward into the abyss. This sudden movement displaces huge volumes of water, sending shock waves outward as towering waves Some of the largest tsunamis in history may have been triggered this way. Their origins hidden beneath the sea. One ancient landslide off the coast of Norway, known as the Stoga Slide, caused waves hundreds of feet high that swept across the North Atlantic thousands of years ago. These underwater avalanches still occur today, though most are smaller and unnoticed by people on land. They remind us that the ocean floor is not fixed or stable, but alive with movements, capable of reshaping coastlines in a single moment. Earth's magnetic field leaves stripes on the ocean floor. The ocean floor is like a giant tape recorder, preserving a record of Earth's magnetic history. As molten rock wells up at mid-ocean ridges and cools, tiny magnetic minerals inside it align with Earth's magnetic field, freezing in place. These like tiny compasses over millions of years. As the planet's magnetic field has flipped with the north and south poles trading places, these rocks have recorded the changes. The result is a series of stripes across the seafloor, alternating bands of magnetic orientation that stretch for thousands of miles. When scientists first mapped these patterns, it provided stunning evidence at the continents move and the seafloor spreads apart. The ocean floor is not just a landscape. It is a history book written in stone, carrying the memory of Earth's shifting poles and drifting continents across the vast expanse of time. Black smokers release metallic fluids like underwater forges. In the deep ocean along volcanic ridges, there are vents known as black smokers. They look like chimneys rising from the seafloor, belching out dark plumes of superheated water. This water, nearly as hot as molten lead, is filled with dissolved minerals and metals. When it gushes into the cold seawater, the minerals solidify, instantly falling back down in clouds that look like smoke. Around these vents, life thrives in surprising abundance. Giant tubeworms, clams, and swarms of shrimp feed on bacteria that use the minerals for energy. In a place without sunlight, these ecosystems are powered by the Earth's inner heat. Black smokers are also thought to be similar to the environments where life first began on Earth. They are underwater forges reshaping the seafloor, fueling life, and reminding us that creation can spring from even the most extreme conditions. The deep sea is the largest habitat on Earth. When we imagine Earth's habitats, we often picture forests, deserts, or grasslands. But the largest habitat of all lies beneath the waves, the deep sea, everything below about 200 meters, where sunlight fades away, makes up the vast majority of our planet's living space. It stretches across more than half the planet's surface and place. Hundreds miles deep, within it live countless species, many still unknown, adapted to darkness, pressure, and core. It is a place of quiet but constant motion, where slow currents move nutrients, and where life takes on forms unlike anything found on land. From glowing jellyfish to colossal squid, the deep sea is Earth's hidden wilderness, the biggest ecosystem we have, and one we still barely understand. To drift there in imagination is to float in the planet's greatest, most mysterious home. Some deep-sea fish carry lanterns on their heads in the twilight and midnight zones of the ocean, where sunlight cannot reach. Some fish create their own light. The most famous of these are the anglerfish, which carry glowing lures dangling from stalks on their heads. These lanterns are produced by bioluminescent bacteria living in a special pouch at the tip of the stalk. The fish waves this glowing orb in the dark like a flickering candle. Smaller creatures, curious or drawn to the light, swim closer and are swallowed in an instant. Some anglers can even control the brightness of their lure, turning it on and off like a flashlight. To us, it might seem like a fairy tale. Age, a creature carrying its own lantern through the eternal night. But in the deep ocean, it is simply survival, proof of how life adapts in the most extraordinary and inventive ways. The fang-toothed fish has teeth too large for its own mouth. Deep in the ocean lives a creature so fierce-looking it seems like a ball of nightmares. The fang-toothed fish Its teeth are so enormous relative to its body that they can't even fit comfortably inside its mouth. Instead, special sockets in the roof of its jaw hold the teeth in place when it closes. Despite its terrifying appearance, the fang-tooth is not a giant. Most grow only to about 6 in long, but what they lack in size, they make up for in design. Their needle-sharp teeth ensure that any prey unlucky enough to come close cannot escape. In the darkness of the deep sea, where food is scarce and encounters are rare, such adaptations can mean the difference between survival and starvation. The fang-tooth is a reminder that the ocean's depths are filled with creatures that seem almost too strange to be real. Gulper eels can swallow prey larger than themselves. The gulper eel is a creature of extremes. Its body is long and slender, but its mouth is enormous, ballooning outward like a vast dark net. This unique adaptation allows it to swallow prey much larger than itself, even creatures half its own length. The gulper eel lives in the deep ocean, where meals are scarce and unpredictable. When something edible comes within reach, the eel opens its enormous jaws, expanding them into a gaping void that can engulf almost anything. Its body stretches to accommodate the meal, allowing it to feast even when prey is rare. The gulper's tail often glows with a bright pinkish light, perhaps to attract unsuspecting victims. Watching one open its mouth is like watching a shadow turn into a cave. The ocean itself seems to gape open, ready to swallow whatever drifts to close. Anglerfish use glowing lures to attract victims. Perhaps no creature better embodies the eerie wonder of the deep sea than the anglerfish. With needle teeth and a huge mouth, it looks fearsome, but its most famous feature is the glowing lure that dangles from its forehead. This lure is filled with bioluminescent bacteria glowing softly in the darkness. Smaller fish, mistaking it for food, swim toward the light, only to be caught in the anglerfish's jaws. Female anglerfish are the hunters, growing much larger than the males. In some species, tiny males fuse permanently to the females, becoming little more than living sources of sperm. It's a bizarre strategy, but it ensures that when a female finds food in the vast, dark ocean, she also has a mate attached. Anglerfish reminds us that in the deep sea, life is both terrifying and ingenious, evolving in ways we can barely imagine. Some deep-sea creatures are transparent as glass in the darkest waters. Camouflage takes on strange and beautiful forms. Many deep-sea creatures are nearly invisible, their bodies transparent as glass. Some jellyfish are so clear you can see their internal organs, glowing faintly within. Certain fish, like the glass squid, have bodies that are almost entirely see-through, with only their eyes visible as faint shadows. This invisibility protects them from predators. In the vast emptiness of the deep, where there are few places to hide, light passes straight through them, making them vanish into the water around them. For humans, it's like seeing a living ghost, a creature that is present and yet barely there. In a realm without sunlight, where survival depends on remaining unseen, transparency is the perfect disguise. The ocean is full of these ghostly beings, drifting quietly through the blackness like whispers of water itself. Others have skin so black they absorb nearly all light. In the deep ocean, some creatures have evolved to eyes appear in a different way. Instead of becoming transparent, they cloak themselves in skin so black that it absorbs nearly every photon of light. These ultra-black fish have skin that traps over 99% of light, making them nearly invisible even when bioluminescent creatures shine nearby. To a predator searching with glowing lures or sensitive eyes, the fish vanishes against the background of darkness. Their skin acts almost like living velvet, scattering light inward so nothing reflects back. Even cameras designed for the deep struggle to capture their forms. These creatures float like moving shadows, perfectly hidden in the abyss. It is camouflage taken to the ultimate extreme, not by blending in with their surroundings, but by becoming darker than the deep itself, a reminder that invisibility is not just fantasy, but a survival tool of the sea. The ocean floor holds more gold than all the mines on land. It may surprise you to know that the ocean is filled, and with gold far more than all the mines ever dug on land. Dissolved in seawater and trapped in sediments across the ocean floor lies an estimated 20 million tons of gold. But this treasure is spread so thin that extracting it is nearly impossible. Each liter of seawater contains only a few billionth of a gram of the precious metal. Still, the thought is staggering. Beneath the waves, veteran G in the dark, lies more gold than humans have ever held in their hands. Some scientists emerge in technologies that might one day make this treasure accessible, though for now it remains far beyond our reach. The ocean hides riches not in sparkling piles but in endless invisible abundance, a treasure chest so vast that it reminds us how small our own wealth truly is. There are lost shipwrecks scattered across the sea. Beneath the waves hidden from sight lie the remains of countless ships. Some sank in storms, some in battle, and others simply vanished into the deep without a trace. As estimated that more than 3 million shipwrecks rest on the seafloor, ranging from ancient wooden vessels to modern steel giants. Each one is a time capsule, preserving a moment of history beneath layers of sand and coral. Some hold cargoes of gold and silver, other everyday objects, pottery, tools, and coins that whisper stories of lives long past. Many wrecks become artificial reefs. Their broken walls are now home to fish, corals, and sea turtles. Divers sometimes describe the eerie quiet of exploring these sunken ships, as if they're walking through a memory. The ocean is bought, each graveyard and guardian, holding the remains of human journeys in its timeless, watchful silence. Some are preserved perfectly for centuries in cold depths, in the coldest, darkest corners of the sea. Time seems to pause. Shipwrecks that would quickly decay on land can remain intact for centuries underwater. The icy depths slow decay, and the lack of oxygen prevents wood and metal from rotting. Off the coast of Sweden, a 16th century warship called the Vasa was raised from the seafloor in near perfect condition. Its timbers are still strong after more than 300 years beneath the waves, in the Black Sea where oxygen barely reaches the depths. Ancient Greek ships have been found with masts, ropes, and even cargo preserved. These underwater vaults hold history in suspension, freezing it in time. To peer into a wreck like this is to look directly into another age, as if centuries have collapsed and the ocean has quietly kept its secrets until we were ready to discover them. Sunken cities still rest beneath the waves. Not only ships, but entire cities lie beneath the ocean's surface. Off the coast of Egypt, the ancient city of Firmon once thrived as a bustling port filled with temples and markets. Over time, the shifting seabed swallowed it, leaving its stone columns and statues hidden underwater for more than 1,000 years. In Greece, the submerged ruins of Pavlo-Petri reveal streets and buildings from a Bronze Age town that sank around 3,000 years ago. These drowned cities show how fragile human settlements can be in the face of rising seas and shifting land. Divers who explore them describe the surreal experience of swimming through stone streets and doorways as if visiting a dreamlike version of history. The ocean does not just erase, preserves holding echoes of civilizations that once thrived along its shores, now resting silently in its depths. The Bermuda Triangle has sparked centuries of mystery. Between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico lies a region of ocean infamous in legend, the Bermuda Triangle. For centuries, sailors and pilots have told stories of ships and aircraft that vanished mysteriously within its boundaries. Some tales speak of compasses spinning wildly, of sudden storms, or of vessels disappearing without a trace. While many of these stories can be explained by natural phenomena, unpredictable weather, strong currents, or human error, the mystery lingers in the public imagination. The Bermuda Triangle has become a symbol of the unknown, a reminder that the ocean still holds secrets beyond our understanding, whether it is simply a region of dangerous waters or something more mysterious. It continues to capture our curiosity. To gaze out across its blue expanses, to wonder what really lies beyond the horizon, hidden in the restless sea. Deep currents move water around the globe for 1,000 years. Beneath the surface of the ocean flows a hidden river, a system of deep currents that circle the planet. This global circulation is sometimes called the ocean conveyor belt. It is powered by differences in temperature and salinity, with cold, dense water sinking at the poles and slowly moving across the ocean floor. A single parcel of water may take 1,000 years to complete the journey, traveling from the Atlantic to the Pacific and back again. Along the way, it carries nutrients, heat, and carbon, linking every part of the ocean into one vast system. These currents are invisible, slow, and steady, yet they shape the climate of continents and sustain life across the seas. To imagine a single drop of water drifting for centuries through the world's oceans is to feel the planet's heartbeat pulsing softly through the deep. The ocean's tides are pulled by the moon. Twice a day, the sea rises and falls in a rhythm as old as time. These tides are caused by the pull of the moon's gravity, which tugs on Earth's oceans, drawing the water into a bulge that moves as the planet rotates. The sun also plays a role, sometimes strengthening the tides, sometimes softening them. This dance shapes coastlines, nourishes tidal marshes, and guides the lives of countless creatures. Crabs, clams, and shorebirds time their movements with the ebb and flow of the water. For humans, tides have guided sailors for thousands of years, determining when ships could leave harbor or cross shallow passages. Standing on a beach as the water draws back and then returns, you're witnessing the invisible touch of the moon itself, pulling gently on our world, a silent reminder of our connection to the cosmos. The king tides can swallow entire coastlines. Most tides rise and fall predictably, but a few times each year, something remarkable happens. When the sun, moon, and earth align just right, their combined pull creates what are called king tides, the highest tides of the year. These surges can raise sea levels several feet higher than normal, flooding coastlines, covering roads, and swallowing entire beaches. To those who live near the shore, a king tide can be a powerful reminder of the ocean's reach, showing what higher sea levels might look like in the future as the climate changes. Photographers often are to capture the spectacle of waves lapping at city streets or rising over sea walls. To watch a king tide roll in is to see the ocean claim its space, reminding us that the boundary between land and sea is never fixed, but always shifting with the pull of the moon. Tsunamis can travel across entire oceans at jet speed. When a massive earthquake or landslide displaces a vast amount of water, the result is a tsunami, a wave that moves not just across a beach, but across entire oceans. Unlike ordinary waves, which are caused by wind, tsunamis are driven by the movement of water itself. They can race across the sea at speeds of 500 miles per hour, as fast as a jet airplane. In the open ocean, they may appear small, only a few feet high, but as they approach shallow water, they grow high, at towering walls. A tsunami that begins in the Pacific can reach the shores of another continent in less than a day. Scientists use sensors and satellites to track them, but their power remains humbling. Each tsunami is a reminder that the ocean is not just a vast, quiet expanse. It is also a restless force. Storm surges can raise the sea higher than a house. When powerful storms sweep across the ocean, and the winds and low pressure can push the sea itself onto the land. This is a storm surge, a massive rise in sea level that can lift the water higher than the roof of a house. Unlike a regular tide, it comes suddenly, often alongside crashing waves and heavy rain. During hurricanes, storm surges can be the most destructive force. flooding entire towns, toppling sea walls, and reshaping coastlines overnight. To those who live near the shore, the ocean's calm surface can transform into an unstoppable flood in a matter of hours. And yet, in the long view of Earth's history, such surges are part of the natural cycle of reshaping land and sea. Each surge is a reminder that the boundary we draw between ocean and shore is temporary, always shifting under the power of water. Some waves carry the energy of nuclear bonds. It can be hard to grasp the energy contained in moving water. A single large wave driven by a powerful storm or earthquake can release as much energy as a small nuclear explosion. Imagine a wall of water rushing across the sea with the force to lift ships, erase coastlines, and reshape landscapes. Tsunamis are the clearest examples, but even raw waves and storm-driven swells can carry extraordinary power. Scientists studying these waves measure them not just in height, but in the energy they release, enough to dwarf anything we build. Yet, unlike the violence of human weapons, the ocean's power is not meant to destroy. It is simply part of its eternal rhythm, a natural force expressing itself in motion. To feel the grow and tremble beneath the crash of such a wave is to understand how small we are beside the sea. The Pacific Ocean is larger than all continents combined. The Pacific Ocean is so vast it defies imagination. Stretching from Asia to the Americas, it covers more than 60 million square miles. To put that in perspective, the Pacific is larger than all of Earth's continents combined. Within its waters are countless islands, deep trenches, and entire ecosystems that thrive in silence and mystery. If you were to sail across its widest point, it would take weeks, even at modern speeds. For centuries, this immense ocean separated civilizations, making its islands remote worlds of their own. Even today, much of it remains unexplored. When astronauts look back at Earth, the Pacific dominates the view, a shimmering canvas of blue stretching almost unbroken across the planet. It is not just an ocean, it is a world unto itself, a reminder that water, not land, is the true ruler of Earth's surface. The Atlantic Ocean was born from the rifting of a long ago. Earth's continents were joined together in a single land mass known as Pangea. Over time, immense forces beneath the Earth tore this supercontinent apart, opening a crack that widened into the Atlantic Ocean. The process is still happening today. Along the mid-Atlantic ridge, new seafloor is constantly being created as molten rock wells up and pushes the continents farther apart. The Atlantic grows a few inches wider every year, slowly reshaping the map of our world. This vast ocean, which now carries ships and storms between Europe, Africa, and the Americas, was once a narrow rift. To imagine the Atlantic's birth is to imagine continents drifting like rafts, splitting and shifting across millions of years. The ocean we know today is young in geological terms, still expanding, still stretching, a reminder that even oceans are temporary in Earth's endless story. The Indian Ocean has its own monsoon circulation. The Indian Ocean is unique among Earth's great seas, unlike the Pacific or Atlantic, which are largely shaped by steady counts. The Indian Ocean breathes with the rhythm of the monsoons. Each year, the winds reverse direction. In summer, warm air over the land pulls moist ocean winds inland, bringing heavy rains that sustain billions of people. In winter, the winds reverse, blowing dry air out to sea. This seasonal heartbeat has shaped civilizations for thousands of years, guiding trade, agriculture, and culture across South Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. Traders once timed their voyages to the monsoon winds, crossing vast distances when the currents were favorable. Even today, the monsoon is vital, bringing life-giving rains, but also fierce storms. The Indian Ocean reminds us that the sea is not just water, it is a force that shapes human history itself. The Southern Ocean encircles Antarctica with endless winds. At the bottom of the world lies a restless ocean unlike any other. The Southern Ocean circles Antarctica completely unbroken by continents. Because of this, its currents can race all way around the globe, creating the strongest continuous flow of water on Earth. These currents connect the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans, mixing their waters and regulating Earth's climate. The winds above the Southern Ocean are equally powerful, whipping the seas into towering waves that crash against the icy continent. Despite the harshness, life thrives here. From vast colonies of penguins to pods of orcas and humpback whales, the Southern Ocean is a reminder that even at the planet's edge, where cold and wind seem unrelenting, the sea remains alive, circling endlessly. It is like a great belt of water and air, binding Earth's oceans into a single living system that never stops moving. The Arctic Ocean is covered by shifting ice, the smallest of Earth's oceans. Hence, the Arctic is capped by a vast sheet of floating sea ice. This frozen lid is never still. It cracks, drifts, and reforms with the seasons, creating a shifting, ever-changing landscape. In summer, the ice retreats, opening passages of water and exposing hidden ecosystems beneath. In winter, it expands again, stretching into a frozen desert. Beneath the ice, life carries on in quiet resilience. Plankton bloom in the sunlight, filtering through the ice. Fish glide below and seals hunt in the cold, silent dark. Polar bears wander across the frozen surface, depending on the ice to hunt. As the climate warms, the Arctic Ocean is changing faster than almost any other place on Earth. The melting ice is a reminder that this frozen sea is not eternal. It is fragile, shifting, and deeply connected to our world's future. The ocean's surface hides mountain peaks taller than the Alps. The ocean may look flat and endless from above, but beneath its surface lie mountains taller than the Alps. Seamounts, underwater mountains formed by volcanic activity, rise thousands of feet from the seafloor. Many never reach the surface, their peaks hidden just below. The waves, some are higher than Mount Rainier, yet completely invisible from land. These seamounts create unique ecosystems as currents swirl around them, bringing nutrients that attract fish, corals, and whales. Entire communities form in these hidden places, thriving in the shadow of underwater peaks. To think that such towering mountains exist unseen beneath the waves is humbling. They remind us that most of Earth's wonders remain hidden from sight. The next time you gaze at the horizon, remember just below that calm surface, peaks taller than alpine summits rise silently through the deep, unseen and unknown. Some trenches are so deep they could swallow Mount Everest. The ocean is home to immense chasms that make even the greatest mountains seem small. The Mariana Trench, deepest known, plunges nearly 7 miles beneath the surface. If Mount Everest were placed inside, its peak would still be submerged by more than a mile of water. These trenches are formed where tectonic icy plates collide, forcing one beneath the other into the Earth's mantle. They are some of the most extreme environments on the planet, dark, cold, and under crushing pressure. Yet even here, life exists. Strange organisms cling to the rocks, feeding on nutrients that drift down from above or emerge from deep within the Earth. These trenches are not just scars on the sea floor, but doorways into the unknown. To imagine their depth is to imagine standing at the base of Everest and still looking up through miles of dark water. Submarine canyons funnel sediments to the deep along the edges of continents. The seafloor is carved into deep valleys known as submarine canyons. These canyons act like underwater highways, funneling sediments, nutrients, and even organic matter from the coal ash down into the deep sea. Some are carved by ancient rivers, others by underwater landslides or the slow pull of currents. Terry Canyon, for example, cuts deep into the seafloor off California's coast, rivaling the Grand Canyon in scale. These hidden valleys are vital to marine life. Nutrients carried down their slopes feed ecosystems in the depths, sustaining creatures that might otherwise starve in the dark. Submarine canyons also act as corridors for marine animals, guiding migrations and sheltering life. Though hidden beneath the waves, they are as dramatic and important as in why canyon on land. They remind us that Earth's greatest landscapes often lie where we cannot see them. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge is the longest mountain chain on Earth. Hidden beneath the ocean lies the longest mountain range in the world. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge, stretching for more than 40,000 miles, it winds like a scene down the center of the Atlantic Ocean. From the Arctic all the way to the southern tip of Africa. Unlike the dramatic peaks of the Himalayas, this range rises from the seafloor. Its summits mostly buried beneath miles of water. It is formed where tectonic plates pull apart, allowing molten rock to rise and create a new crust. In some places, the ridge breaks the surface, forming islands like Iceland, where volcanoes still shape the land. From above, it is invisible, but on maps, it appears as a jagged scar across the ocean floor. This hidden mountain range is a reminder that Earth's greatest features often lie in places we cannot see. Vast, silent, and mysterious, volcanoes rise thousands of meters from the ocean floor. When we imagine volcanoes, we picture fiery peaks rising above the land, but many of Earth's tallest volcanoes lie beneath the ocean, unseen. Seamounts and submarine volcanoes can rise thousands of meters from the seafloor, forming immense mountains that never break the surface. Some are still active, sending plumes of ash and hot water into the sea, reshaping the landscape in silence. In fact, the tallest mountain on Earth isn't Everest. It's Mauna in Hawaii. From its base on the seafloor to its summit above the waves, it stands taller than any other mountain on the planet. These underwater volcanoes are more than just geological wonders. They create new habitats for marine life, release nutrients into the sea, and shape the islands and coastlines we know. Beneath the waves, the Earth is still building itself, one fiery eruption at a time. Entire islands are born from submarine eruptions. Sometimes the ocean itself gives birth to new land. When underwater volcanoes erupt with enough force, they can build mountains that rise all the way to the surface, breaking through as brand new islands. In recent decades, small volcanic islands have appeared suddenly in places like Iceland and Japan, steaming and smoking as they emerge from the sea. Some last only a short time, quickly eroded by waves. Others stabilize, becoming permanent additions to the map. The Hawaiian Islands themselves were born this way, rising from the ocean over millions of years of volcanic activity. To witness such an event is to see creation in real time. The Earth is reshaping itself before our eyes. From the depths of the sea, new worlds are born, a reminder that our planet is never finished, always changing, always alive with hidden fire. Some islands disappear beneath the waves again. Just as the ocean can create islands, it can also take them away. Many small volcanic islands born in spectacular eruptions vanish within years as waves and storms erode their fragile rock. In the Pacific, new islands have appeared and disappeared in the span of a single human lifetime, leaving only faint outlines on nautical charts. Rising sea levels add to this process, slowly submerging low-lying atlas and coral islands. Entire community ties in places like the Maldives and Kiribati, live with the knowledge that their homes may one day slip beneath the waves. The ocean is both giver and taker, sculpting the land as it pleases. An island may rise like a miracle, only to vanish again, reminding us that nothing on Earth is permanent. Land and sea are in constant negotiation, and the ocean always has the final word. Coral reefs are built by tiny animals. When you see a coral reef, it may look like a colorful stone, a solid wall of rock covered in fish and plants. But reefs are actually alive, built by billions of tiny creatures called coral polyp. Each polyp is a small animal related to jellyfish, with soft bodies that secrete limestone skeletons. Over time, these skeletons accumulate, stacking into massive structures that can stretch for hundreds of miles. The reef becomes a living city, growing slowly over centuries as each new generation of polyp builds upon the last. The colors we see come from the algae that live inside the corals, giving them food through photosynthesis. Reefs are not just beautiful, they are vital, providing shelter and nurseries for countless marine species. To swim among coral is to wander through an ancient living cathedral built one tiny creature at a time across centuries of patience. They support a quarter of all marine species, though coral reefs cover less than 1% of the ocean floor. They are home to about a quarter of all marine life. Fish of every color dart between the branches, sea turtles glide gracefully overhead, and why creatures build their homes among the coral. This astonishing density of life has earned reefs the nickname rainforests of the sea. For humans, they are equally important. Reefs provide food, protect coastlines from waves, and support millions of people who depend on them for fishing and tourism. Yet, they are fragile, threatened by warming waters and pollution. When corals die entirely, ecosystems can collapse, leaving silence where once there was life. To imagine a reef is to imagine abundance, a kaleidoscope of colors, shapes, and movements, all woven together into a single living system. They remind us how rich and interconnected life in the ocean can be. Some corals glow under ultraviolet light. When corals are bathed in ultraviolet light, something magical happens. Their surface shimmer with neon colors, glowing greens, blues, and reds that look almost otherworldly. This glow comes from special proteins within the coral that absorb UV radiation and remit it as visible light. Scientists believe this bioluminescence may help protect corals from harmful sunlight or perhaps attract the tiny algae that live inside them. To divers exploring reefs under special lights, it feels like stepping into a dream where the ocean floor shines like a field of stars. These glowing corals are not just beautiful, they hold secrets that may one day help humans develop new designs and technologies. In their light, we see both the creativity of nature and the endless curiosity it inspires, reminding us that even the smallest creatures can shine with cosmic brilliance. Others build skeletons that last for millennia. Corals may seem delicate, but their skeletons can endure for thousands of years. As each tiny polyp builds its limestone home, it leaves behind a structure that remains long after it dies. Over centuries, these skeletons accumulate into massive reefs, some of which have been growing for more than 8,000 years. The Great Barrier Reef, stretching across Australia's coast, is so vast that it can be seen from space. Even when corals die, their skeletons provide a foundation for new life to grow layer upon layer, like the rings of a tree. In this way, reefs are both living and ancient, constantly renewing themselves, yet preserving the memory of generations long gone. They remind us that even the smallest creatures, working together, can create structures that endure longer than cities, longer than civilizations, longer than the memory of humankind itself. Coral polyp can clone themselves to expand array. Coral reefs are built by polyps so small you could miss them with the naked eye. Yet these creatures have an extraordinary ability. They can clone themselves. When a polyp divides, it creates an identical copy which settles nearby and begins building its own skeleton. Over time, these clones form colonies, expanding outward into elaborate structures. It's like a living organism that builds its own home brick by microscopic brick. This ability allows reefs to grow steadily for thousands of years, spreading across vast stretches of ocean floor. Each new polyp is both a separate creature and part of the whole, connected to its neighbors, sharing food and protection. The result is one of the most intricate ecosystems on Earth. Coral cloning is a quiet, patient process, but over centuries it builds something breathtaking. Thousands of species live together in a single reef. Fish of every color, tiny shrimp cleaning larger creatures, sea turtles grazing on seagrass, and sharks gliding silently above. The reef provides food, shelter, and breeding grounds for about a quarter of all marine species. Despite covering only a tiny fraction of the ocean floor, this concentration of life rivals even the richest rainforests. The interactions within a reef are delicate and complex, with every creature depending on others for balance. A small change, a shift in temperature, a drop in water quality can ripple outward, affecting the entire system. To float above a reef is to watch life in its most dazzling and intricate form, a living mosaic of color and motion woven by the sea itself. The Great Barrier Reef is visible from space. From the window of a spacecraft orbiting Earth, the Great Barrier Reef appears as a ribbon of turquoise and emerald stretching along Australia's northeast coast. At more than 1,400 meters long, it is the largest living structure on Earth, so vast that astronauts can see it with the naked eye. What they are really looking at is billions of tiny coral polyps, each building a limestone home, generation after generation, until they form an underwater metropolis. The reef is alive with color and motion. Schools of fish glinting like silver sparks, sea turtles gliding in silence, and manta rays sweeping gracefully overhead. To know that something so alive, so delicate, can be seen from orbit is astonishing. From the emptiness of space, Earth shines as a blue planet, and the reef glimmers as a jewel upon its surface. Reef-building corals are under threat from warming seas. As bountiful as coral reefs are, they are also fragile. Corals live in partnership with tiny algae that provide them with food and brilliant color. But when ocean temperatures rise even slightly, the corals become stressed and expel their algae. Without their partners, they turn ghostly white, a process called coral bleaching. If the heat continues, the corals starve and die, leaving behind barren skeletons. In recent decades, warming seas have caused mass bleaching events across the globe, threatening reefs that have stood for thousands of years. Yet, there is hope. Some corals are more resilient, capable of withstanding higher temperatures, and scientists are working to protect and restore reef ecosystems. The fragility of corals reminds us that the ocean, for all its power, is also delicate, a living system that depends on balance, and one we are called to care for. Entire metals are built on ancient volcanic foundations. Scattered across the Pacific are rings of islands that look like necklaces floating on the sea. These are atolls, circular chains of coral enclosing tranquil lagoons. Atlases are born from volcanoes. Long ago, volcanic islands rose from the sea and corals began to grow around their edges. As the volcano slowly sank beneath the waves, the corals continued to build upward, keeping pace with the rising water. Over millions of years, the volcanic island disappeared beneath the surface, leaving behind only a ring of coral. The result is a natural wonder, an atoll with calm waters at its heart and the open ocean beyond. To walk across an atoll is to stand on the memory of a volcano transformed into a paradise of sand, palms, and coral. They are reminders that even destruction can create beauty, reshaping the world in unexpected ways. Seagrass meadows produce more oxygen than forests. Beneath the waves, vast meadows of seagrass sway with the current. These underwater plants may seem unremarkable compared to coral reefs, so are kelp forests, but they are quiet giants in Earth's story. Seagrasses photosynthesize, drawing in carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen. In fact, per square meter, they can produce more oxygen than in tropical rainforests. These meadows also act as nurseries, sheltering young fish, seahorses, and turtles among their waving blades. Their roots stabilize the sandy seabed, protecting coastlines from erosion, and they store huge amounts of carbon, locking it away in the sediment for centuries. Yet, seagrass meadows are disappearing worldwide due to pollution, and coastal development. Protecting them means protecting one of Earth's most important life support systems. To drift above a seagrass meadow is to float over a hidden forest alive with movement, feeding the air we breathe, and keeping our planet in balance. Mangroves protect coastlines from storms along tropical shores. Mangrove forests stand with their roots tangled like intricate sculptures, half in the water and half on land. These remarkable trees are natural guardians of the coast. Their roots act like living barriers, absorbing the force of waves and storm surges, protecting inland communities from flooding and erosion. At the same time, they provide shelter for fish, crabs, and birds, forming rich ecosystems in the shallow water. Mangroves are also powerful carbon sinks, capturing and storing carbon dioxide in their soil and roots. Yet, like coral reefs, they are under threat from development and climate change. To walk among mangroves is to feel the meeting of land and sea, where trees grow in salt water and roots cradle entire ecosystems. They are protectors and providers, reminders that nature has its own defenses and that the ocean's edge is alive with resilience. Some fish use choral sounds to find their way home. When young fish are born, many drift for weeks or months in the open ocean, carried by currents far from home. But when it's time to settle, how do they find their way back to the reef? The answer is sound. Reefs are anything but silent. They crackle with the noise of snapping shrimp, fish calls, and the faint hum of life. Baby fish can hear these sounds from miles away, and they use them as a kind of underwater beacon, guiding them home. Scientists discovered that fish placed in speakers broadcasting reef sounds were drawn toward them, navigating through the dark water with their ears. This means reefs are not only colorful to the eye but also rich in hidden soundscapes that shape the lives of creatures. The ocean speaks in ways we cannot hear, and its children listen carefully. Tides expose vast mudflats full of hidden life. When the tides retreat from coastal shores, they reveal wide stretches of glistening mud flats. At first glance, these flats look empty, but they are alive with hidden life. Beneath the wet sand, clams and worms burrow, waiting for the water to return. Crabs scuttle sideways across the surface, leaving tiny tracks that disappear with the next wave. Birds flock to the exposed flats, probing the mud for food. Entire ecosystems depend on this daily rhythm. When the sea pulls back to reveal its secrets before sweeping in again. For humans walking across these landscapes, the ground may feel soft and endless, dotted with shells and rippling patterns. Mud flats are reminders that even in the simplest, quietest places, life is abundant. They are the ocean's secret gardens, revealed only for a few hours at a time, then hidden again. And at the returning tide, some crabs can climb trees. When we think of crabs, we imagine them scuttling along the sand or hiding in rocky tide pools. But in tropical islands across the Indian and Pacific Oceans, some crabs have taken to the trees. Coconut crabs, the largest land-dwelling arthropods in the world, can climb towering palms with ease, using their powerful legs to grip the bark. They climb to snatch coconuts, which they can crack open with claws strong enough to snap bones. These giants can weigh more than 9 pounds and stretch nearly 3 feet across. Despite their size, they are expert climbers, moving silently among the leaves. Smaller species like mangrove crabs also climb trees to feed on leaves and escape predators. To see a crab clinging to a branch high above the water is surreal. A creature of the sea returning to the air, exploring yet another world. Sea cucumbers clean the ocean floor. On the seafloor, countless creatures sift through sand and mud, recycling nutrients in ways that keep the ocean alive. Among the most important are sea cucumbers, soft tube-shaped animals that creep slowly across the bottom. As they feed, they swallow sand and organic matter, digest what they need, and expel the rest, leaving behind clean sediment. In this way, they act like the earthworms of the sea, turning over the seabed and keeping eco systems healthy. In some regions, entire stretches of the ocean floor are covered with sea cucumbers, quietly working as cleaners. Despite their simple appearance, they play a vital role in keeping marine life thriving. Without them, the seafloor could become clogged with waste, suffocating the creatures that live there. Sea cucumbers remind us that even the humblest forms of life can be essential, silent caretakers of the ocean's endless floor. Starfish can regrow entire arms. In the tide pools and shallow seas, starfish crawl slowly across the rocks, their arms stretching like rays of the sun. These creatures possess remarkable ability. If they lose an arm, they can regrow it completely. In some cases, a single arm can even regenerate into a whole new starfish given enough time. This power comes from their incredible ability to regenerate cells, rebuilding not only muscle and skin, but also their internal structures. For starfish, this isn't just a trick, it's a survival strategy. When attacked by predators, they can sacrifice a limb and later grow it back. Watching a starfish move with calm determination, you might never guess the quiet resilience hidden in its body. Their ability to heal and renew themselves is a gentle reminder of nature's patience and of the hidden powers life can carry within. Some octopuses carry coconut shells as tools. The octopus is known for its intelligence, but perhaps one of its most charming traits is its resourcefulness. In the waters of Indonesia, scientists have observed octopuses carrying coconut shells across the seafloor. They use their arms to tuck the shells underneath their bodies, shuffling along awkwardly while transporting them. When threatened, they assemble the shells into makeshift shelter, hiding inside their portable armor. This is one of the clearest examples of tool use in the ocean, a creature not just reacting to its environment, but actively shaping it to its advantage. The sight is strangely endearing, like watching a traveler carry a suitcase. In the dark and shifting world of the sea, where danger can come from any direction, the coconut octopus has learned to bring safety with it, a reminder that intelligence takes many forms. Even in the silent deep, they can solve puzzles and escape from tanks. Octopuses are masters of problem solving. In aquariums around the world, keepers tell stories of octopuses that unscrew jar lids, lift latches, and even sneak out of their tanks at night. Some have been found wandering the floor, exploring pipes, or slipping into neighboring enclosures to steal food. Their arms are lined with hundreds of suckers, each capable of tasting and touching independently, like having curious hands. But it's not just dexterity. Octopuses seem to think they learn from experience, remember solutions, and adapt to new challenges. Watching an octopus carefully unscrew a jar to itch a crab inside feels almost human. A glimpse into a mind both alien and familiar. In the silent waters of their tanks, they remind us that intelligence is not ours alone. It is a thread woven through the ocean in forms we are only beginning to understand. An octopus has 3 hearts and blue blood. The octopus is unlike almost any other creature on Earth. Inside its body, not 1 but 3 hearts beat. 2 of them pump blood through the gills, while the 3rd pumps it through the rest of the body. Even stranger, their blood is not red like ours, but blue. This is because it uses copper rather than iron to carry oxygen. Copper works better in the cold, oxygen-poor waters where many octopuses live. When an octopus swims, one of its hearts actually stops beating, only to start again when it rests. These creatures are reminders that life is endlessly inventive, shaping organs and systems to fit the needs of each environment. To imagine blood running blue instead of red, and a rhythm powered by 3 separate harps, is to glimpse just how many ways life has found to thrive beneath the waves. Cuttlefish can disappear in a flash of camouflage. Cuttlefish are masters of disguise. With a single thought, their skin can shift from pale sand-colored patterns to dazzling stripes, spots, or swirls. Special cells called chromatophores expand and contract are evening or hiding pigments. Instantly, what makes this even more astonishing is that cuttlefish are colorblind. They create patterns and colors they cannot even see, guided by instincts. And deep in their biology, in the quiet ocean, they are artists without eyes for their own masterpieces. Squid can communicate using pulses of color, while some creatures rely on sound to speak. Squid use light and color instead. Their skin is covered in specialized cells that can flash, shimmer, or darken in patterns. By pulsing stripes or waves of color, squid communicate with one another, signaling danger, confusing predators, or coordinating hunts. Some researchers believe they even use these displays as a kind of language, sending messages in rapid, sea-length flashes. To watch a school of squid in the deep sea is to see a conversation in light, a living code written across their shifting bodies in an environment where sound carries strangely invisibility is limited. This luminous communication. Some fish can produce electricity. Imagine swimming through the ocean and encountering a creature that glows with its own power, not just with light, but with electricity. Electric fish, like the electric eel, can generate powerful shocks strong enough to stun prey or deter predators. These shocks come from specialized cells called electrolytes, which store and release electricity, like tiny batteries. Some fish use weaker pulses to communicate, sending electric signals to one another in the dark. Others unleash jolts powerful enough to knock a human unconscious. For them, electricity is not just a phenomenon of machines, but a natural part of their bodies, as ordinary as muscle or bone. The ocean is full of such surprises, creatures that have taken the very forces of physics and made them their own. It is a reminder that life can learn to wield even the raw power of lightning. Others can leap clear out of the water. The ocean's creatures are not always confined to the sea. Many fish have evolved the ability to leap clear of the water, launching themselves into the air with sudden bursts of speed. Flying fish are the most dramatic, using their wing-like fins to glide above the waves for hundreds of feet at a time, skimming the surface like silver arrows. They do this to escape predators, trading the dangers of the deep for the brief freedom of the sky. Other fish leap to catch insects or even to migrate upstream, as salmon do when they hurl themselves against waterfalls in their journey to spawn. Sleep is a reminder that the boundary between water and air is thin and that life is never limited by a single world. In these fleeting, sparkling arcs above the waves, the ocean touches the sky. The ocean's soundscapes are as complex as forests. When we think of the ocean, we often imagine silence, but to a hydrophone, an underwater microphone, the sea is alive with sound. Whales sing in deep, haunting tones that travel across for millions of years beneath the waves we barely know. Entire continents drift on plates beneath the sea. The ocean is not just a surface of water. It is the skin of a living, shifting planet. Beneath it lie tectonic plates, enormous slabs of rock that move slowly over Earth's mantle. These plates carry entire continents with them, drifting a few inches each year, over millions of years. They break apart, collide, and reshape the face of the Earth. Oceans open and close like slow breaths, and mountains rise from the sea. The Atlantic Ocean, for example, is still widening today as the plates on either side move apart. This drifting explains why fossils of the same species can be found on continents now separated by thousands of miles of ocean. To imagine continents floating on vast plates of stone is to see Earth as alive, always changing. The ocean is not just a boundary between lands, but the stage where worlds are formed. The ocean still holds mysteries we cannot yet imagine. For all our ships, satellites, and submarines, most of the ocean remains unexplored. More than 95% of it is still a mystery, a realm of darkness and pressure where unknown creatures may drift unseen. Each expedition brings discoveries, new species, new landscapes, even new chemical processes. Yet the vast majority of the deep remains untouched by human eyes. Scientists believe we may have seen less of the seafloor than of the surfaces of Mars or the Moon. Somewhere in the abyss, there may be creatures with forms we cannot picture. Ecosystems unlike anything we know. The ocean is a reminder that our planet still holds secrets. That mystery is not confined to distant galaxies. To close your eyes and imagine the unknown depths is to feel wonder and to dream of what might still be waiting in the silent dark. The sea is both our origin and our future. Every life on Earth traces its beginnings back to the sea. Billions of years ago, the first living cells floated in its waters, nourished by the chemistry of the deep. From those tiny sparks, all plants, animals, and humans eventually arose. Even now, the ocean sustains us, giving us food, oxygen, and its depths may one day reveal medicines, energy sources, or even clues to life on other worlds. To stand on the shore is to stand at the edge of both our past and our destiny. The ocean is not just where life began, it is where life continues and where humanity's future may ultimately return. And so, dear listener, our journey through the ocean draws to a close. We've floated across its shimmering surface where sunlight dances like liquid glass. We've drifted among coral cities alive with color and sound. And we've plunged into the sea, lent depths where the pressure is immense, and yet life still blooms in unexpected forms. From the living mountains of coral reefs to the drowned cities of our ancestors, from the oldest sharks to each the youngest fish listening for home, the ocean has reminded us again and again that it is both ancient and timeless. It is a world of vast power where waves can rise higher than seas and currents can carry water around the planet for 1,000 years. But it is also a world of tenderness where tiny polyps build cathedrals of stone and glowing creatures light up the darkness with their own bodies. Perhaps, as you listen now, you can almost feel the slow rhythm of the sea as though the earth itself were breathing. The ocean asks nothing of us but respect, and in return it offers wonder, nourishment, and a sense of belonging to something greater than ourselves. So as you close your eyes tonight, let the sound of the sea carry you. Imagine yourself drifting gently, the water calm and infinite around you, the stars shining far above, and the glowing creatures of the deep gliding silently below. Each fact we've explored tonight is like a seashell washed ashore, a snail, a treasure, a reminder of the mysteries waiting beneath the waves. Thank you for joining me on this voyage across and beneath the ocean. If you found this journey soothing, you might consider subscribing to the Sleepy Universe story or leaving a gentle comment to share your favorite fact. Your support helps these calming explorations continue, bringing more wonder and rest into the world. For now, let your thoughts settle like sand on the seafloor. Let the steady rhythm of your breath become the rhythm of the waves. May the mysteries of the deep drift through your dreams, wrapping you in calm, in curiosity, and in peace. Good night, dear listener. Sleep well, and I'll see you in the next video.